Well, build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance.
Hello everybody, welcome to Lawn Bangers in association with our partners Leith Spirits. I'm Matty.
Hello, I'm Colin.
Evening, I'm John.
Right, what a wee feast of stuff we've got lined up tonight. Right, so this episode is, I don't know, not like an emergency episode or anything like that. We're doing it because we played Celtic last night and got horsed, but we were going to do the episode anyway, whether it was a win, loss or a draw, or an optimistic, pessimistic, and what was the middle one? Sort of optimistic, semi-optimistic, right? Whatever the result was.
I suppose it could be as well, isn't it?
So we were always going to do it. Now, if you are a subscriber, at the end of the episode, when you hear us saying cheerio, don't hang up. Stay tuned. Like when they did the split on the radio, you've got week at Hibs, but better. You've got week at Hibs.
Pat Bonner or Willie Miller on the night. Neither of them.
And no matter what people tell you, we are an upgrade on them. Right, ignore what everybody says. We are definitely an upgrade on them. But maybe no at like McFadden or Mikey Stewart levels, but there's an in between, isn't there? Right. Yeah. So if you're a subscriber, stay tuned at the end. There's an extra bit for you, which non-subscribers can hear next week when we release it on the delay. So, right, that's the format. Anyway, how are you both doing, John? You all right?
Aye, I'm curious though. You said that we got horsed, and what I wanted to know was, why is it called horsed? And is that greater or worse than being pumped?
I would say it's a bit...
getting pumped. You enjoy getting pumped. Is that not the...
I thought it was a bit the same way, like a horsing and a pumping. It's just it's two words for the same thing. It's like 6 and 2 3s, Colin, which, as we know, can also be 9. If you remember that from our teens.
That's a wee inside joke there.
A proper obscure.
Cheers, me and all of our listeners. No, nothing about it.
Mental things you remember when you're a bear now. So, John, I don't know the difference. Like horsing and a pumping, I think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. To be honest with you,
or swings and roundabouts if you
swings, want to exactly, yeah, whatever way you want to put it. Colin, how are you doing? You finished delivering the milk tray?
Aye, it's just a jumper, mate. It's not a bullet.
I just looked at me just where you were sitting.
Aye, it's just that. I'm actually watching a bit of the Everton Newcastle game now. You should see the sitter the boys just missed. Fucking hell, we'd be raging. And it's funny because he's one of the ones when he's missed it. Kenzie's missed a sitter. He's like 6 yards out centre of the goal, and he just needs to put on target and it's in. And he's blasted over the bar, straight to the linesman. Like, go and tell him.
Oh, that's what he did.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
He's making the VAR signal whenever I fucking check it.
That's funny. Trippier played him on, eh? He's like easily on. And he's like, fucking hell, how did I miss? I think he actually thought he was offside. So he's just smashed it.
Aye.
Came in as if he's fucking makes them off anyway, what a bastard sort of thing.
When did Majowski sign for Newcastle? Right, Hibs, Celtic, let's get stuck into it because otherwise we'll be here all night talking about games that are totally irrelevant and nobody's wanting to hear about. I suppose if we start with the starting lineup, a couple of changes to it. So Rory Whittaker dropped out the side and Lewis Miller came back in, and Dylan Vente was rested after, I believe, picking up a bit of a knock against Aberdeen. And so Ellie Yuan came back into the team. John, there was a bit of chat about there being no strikers on the pitch on Twitter, like a few folk complaining about that. How did you feel when you saw the team?
I spent a wee while looking at it, trying to work out who it was that had made way for Yuan to come back in. But I think if you think back to the game at Easter Road when Tavares came in and Boyle played up front, like it seemed that there was a method behind Montgomery's team selection. So when I saw it yesterday and I saw that Vente had been dropped, and I thought, a bit of pace up front. Try to catch their centre-backs off guard. I think Vickers is a decent defender, but I don't know if he's necessarily the quickest. I'll be honest, I can't remember all the other Celtic defenders, but that was my take on it initially. Pace up front, just out-and-out pace, probably try and play them on the counter-attack and maybe try and get balls over the top.
What do you call him?
So I didn't have to work it out. 'Cause I read it in a message saying that Boyle and Vetty up front, and I thought, all right,
Ah, well,
sorry, Boyle and Ewan up front, and I didn't really think it. But I was just going to check there. Was Vetty on the bench, or was he totally out because he was?
Yeah, he was
Somebody
on the
said till he
bench.
was injured. He was on the bench, right? So I just thought, oh, that's all right. I can kind of, I guess the thinking is defend and get it forward early and try and hit them. And a few times earlier in it worked. The boy had a couple of runs. The boy got booked for bringing him down and all that. Kenny was running at them, and I think that would probably be what the tactic was. So I wasn't too bothered about it. I thought that's all right. Maybe an idea over there. Get two fast boys up front, and they both played through the middle at points, just no together. So although we're saying with no strikers or whatever, they do play up front, just usually with a recognised striker.
Aye.
So I was all right with it.
And Doidge was on the bench as well, who would have been the alternative to come in. But I think, with no disrespect to Christian Doidge, probably rather would have had Ewan than Doidge start him.
For pace, aye.
Aye, for that reason. Before we sort of analyse right, in the loosest possible terms, so as we normally do with long bangers, before we analyse the game, what was your thoughts on it overall, John?
well, it was that what you described at the start, talking about an irrelevant game that nobody wants to hear about. Because, well, overall, it's all, and I think Montgomery described it almost in his post-match interview, where you lose a goal within the first 5 minutes, and it's always an uphill battle after that. And then that seemed to be like I think I'm being generous if I describe their corner that led to the goal as being similar to the delivery of Henderson's in the Scottish Cup final. Into the same sort of area, same sort of delivery, but Carter Vickers doesn't really get much on it. I think it maybe even takes a deflection that takes it past Marshall. And then the second goal I think is pretty poor as well, because Miller gets beaten by their left mid, I'm going to say. And you've got, I don't know if I'd call it a mistake for Miller. I thought it was quite easy for the Celtic player to get by him, but then you've also got that compounded by the fact that their striker has just kind of drifted away from Bashiri and nodded it in. It was two really simple goals.
Yeah.
The penalty, I know you can probably debate that, but I think the game was largely over by that point. And then Will Fish gets done like he got done, I think, against St Mirren, where he just sort of got Motherwell.
Motherwell, yeah.
Motherwell. So, it was just disappointing. And there was, I know there was a couple of chances in there, like we talked about. Colin mentioned it about the pace and try to get the ball forward quickly, but strangely the two opportunities that we had at the end of the first half, or towards the end of the first half, I think the first one was a ball for Newell, kind of over the top, and Ewan found himself in space, didn't really make the most of the opportunity, and then there was another one like that as well.
What were you, Colin? What was your take on it all?
You know what? It's funny because when you play them, right, and then you start thinking, oh, maybe give them a game and all that, and then you get doing like that, and I didn't really feel we were in it. I know we had chances, and I know there's stats, and we said we'd talk about it in extra time and that, the how we gave it a go. But we make these what look like basic mistakes, right? I was saying this boy work the day. The Rocky's no marked the boy. Miller's no stopped a cross coming in. Stupid fucking penalty, which we'll come on to. But Fish getting pushed off the ball, simple. They didn't do that every week. But then they go against the best team, and they do it. So is it? Because it is basics, right? So you go, we'll do the basics better, and we didn't let the goals in. But are we making the mistakes, or being made to make the mistakes because they're quicker, better, and stronger? So then it looks like a basic mistake, but that mistake wouldn't happen against Livingston, or Dundee, or Ross County, or St Mirren, because they've been good, these guys, the last few weeks. Miller's been getting talked up for Player of the Year. Fish has been, again, on form the last week. Rocky, everybody was raving about him. But then last night they go against better, monetary terms, and they make basic mistakes that they've not been making for the last 3 months. So is that because they're making us make the basic mistakes, or is it because we can't do the basics? Do you know what I mean?
I think there's like a degree, like a degree of truth in that, Colin. I say like a degree of truth you were asking the question, but I think the point you're making is I think that's what you think. Is
I think it must be.
That's what it is. But you're framing it as a question because you're right. We don't, or we seem to have got out of the habit of making these basic mistakes week in, week out.
Yeah.
But when we played Rangers, we made them. When we played Celtic, we made them.
And they can make them against other teams. Just pointed at Motherwell on that. They weren't great at the start of the season, though, like as a whole. But in the last 13 games or whatever it is, he's been in charge. They've not been making any mistakes. So they can do the basics. They just didn't do the basics last night. So is that because they switched off because they went, oh, fuck, look at the big stadium? Or is it because they're better and faster and stronger than normal?
I think there's a bit of both in it. When I was watching the last night, I was frustrated at like initially how passive we were. Like take away the fact we conceded within kind of a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
That it's like get close to the players and making a tackle. But the thing that bothers me about the performance last night, and it wasn't for the full game, but maybe for that first half hour, was we forgot that we could play football as well. And like forgot to be competitive. It was like Celtic were brilliant for at least that first half hour as well, right? So give Celtic all the credit in the world because they worked their socks off. Every time we got the ball, it's 3 players and there were 1 player. Yeah. Never happened when Celtic got the ball. Like we had somebody on that man, but it was very passive. They weren't getting a foot in or a shoulder in or committing to a tackle. And I get why you might not want to do that because they would get made to look stupid. But you have to engage with them. You can't just hope to jockey them out the game. Celtic worked their socks off, and if you're already a better player and then you're working harder than your opponent, then you do what Celtic did to us last night, and you make us look like we're like I'd put on Twitter that haven't suddenly got out of first gear yet, despite being second best. And normally it's like when a team's strolling it, you go, they're not going to first gear. We just looked miles off it, but we definitely grew into the game, and I think once we remembered that we were all right as a football team, we competed for quite a lot of the game, I thought. What do you think of the first goal then? So it's a corner. John, you mentioned it was a sort of Henderson-esque corner into that area. Carter Vickers gets it, and I think it was it
was deflected off him, wasn't it?
Oh, it was sorry, yeah. I should have remembered that because I made a wee bit of a joke about it on Twitter in my alternative Hibs commentary. It was. Do you know what? As much as I'm describing it as that Henderson style corner in terms of where it was delivered to, like it wasn't particularly dangerous. Like it just sort of landed. There was a wee bit of a scuffle. It's bounced off at O, and it was gone out back of the net. Like it was, and I think as well, like the style of the goal and the time that it came, it was just kind of like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like it was just such a anticlimactic start.
Exactly. That's what it's just got to see. You can't go and let them score that early. So it just takes all the pressure off them. The fans of theirs that bother to turn up, they're not then getting on their case. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. You need them because they start moaning. Like they're already not happy, even though they're winning most weeks. They're not happy about it. You can't go and just give them the game like 2 minutes in because it wasn't. It was maybe a decent corner, but it wasn't. Didn't it look like it that dangerous? I didn't think. And then the second one as well. Fuck's sake, just never marked the boy.
Yeah.
Like it was like miles off him. He's not that good. Much better. Is it really that much better? I don't know.
The second one, I think, Colin, you could is more easily attributed to what you were saying about the better players making you look like you're making basic mistakes. But the first one for a corner, that it's concentration and desire for me. We didn't. You're letting a player get even a kind of crappy shot away.
Yeah.
You need to just defend it better. And we have typically been quite good at defending corners and that recently as well. So it's difficult to be overly critical, but that was a totally avoidable goal, in my opinion. Why do you think it took us to 2-0 down, really, to start playing?
Pressure's off, eh?
Think.
Game's done. Yeah.
So you would put it down to John?
Hey, Jeopardy on it.
Well, I think we've had a laugh about it, or I've seen it mentioned somewhere before. Like, they know how they say that like 2-0 is dangerous, and like it's maybe like one of the most dangerous scorelines.
Mhm.
So why would you like if that's one
That's
of the
just
most
us that
dangerous
say that
scorelines? Is
because we
it?
lose 2 goal leads all the time.
Aye. So is it? Do you say? I can't remember exactly what it was. It was almost like if that's the most dangerous scoreline, why would you not score no goal? I'll go and dig out and see if I can and find out how it's described exactly. But if the pressure was off and that's when you start playing in the hope of getting presumably in the hope of getting a goal,
Mhm.
or it gives you more chance of getting a goal, why not just do that for the off?
I think what happened, Celtic can keep that pace up for the first half hour. I think that was as much a part of it. Is that eventually they maybe it takes them going 2-0 up and they go, right, well, we didn't have to be 100%. Now we can
So
cruise a wee bit.
is there 100% coming down to say like 70%, for example? Is that our
So just match them.
100% we're able to match them?
Aye, that's what I think happened. Celtic were comfortable in the game and were not that they let us have the ball because I think they would still rather have had it because we actually worked Celtic into like we went into some dangerous areas like you mentioned the Yuan going through and Tavares had a decent chance as well. So you've got there's opportunities there that be created and. Montgomery said after that Celtic weren't exactly carving us open. So Celtic had a lot of the ball, but they weren't like so I'm going to say they weren't relentless, although somebody put a stat up on Twitter to say that they were averaging, I think it was a shot every 3.5 minutes. But
Does that play into what Colin was asking with regards to like were they? So you're saying, or you're quoting Nick Montgomery there and saying that Celtic didn't carve us open. So does that mean that we were doing the basics, or that we weren't? To go back to Colin's point.
I think generally we were, but when we didn't, we got punished for it.
Right.
Because the goals were basic mistakes.
What about
But maybe 90% of the time we done the basics, but actually the times we didn't, there was a goal.
what about the penalty? Sparked a bit of debate as well, and actually, like, well, I'll get your views on it, and then I'll kind of throw a few things at you to see what you think. So, John, you go first without fear or favour. What was your view on the penalty?
I don't think it was a penalty, and I don't think it was a penalty. Additionally, because of the subsequent conversations about it with regards to like how the ball moved and where the contact was, like if there was contact, and I think Montgomery talked about it in his post-match interview where he mentioned that if you start slowing everything down, like you are going to find those little instances. Like, so the way that I look at penalties quite often is, has he cleaned the boy out in the box? Stevenson hasn't cleaned the boy out in the box. That there may have been like some contact from a trailing leg, from his trailing leg. Do I think that was enough to cause the Celtic player to go over? No, I don't think that made it a penalty. But VAR is said to Beaton to go and have a look, and he's went, "Aye, fine, it's a penalty." But it just, again, like it was almost like it just, to me, it just felt like a shitey penalty to be awarded.
Mm-hmm. Colin?
So at the time, didn't think much of it, and then I seen the replay and I thought that's going to be a penalty because he's cut the boy's leg. Right, the guy's not claiming it, which again isn't the rule, but normally a clue. I think he was kind of falling down anyway, and it was maybe a bit lazy for Stevenson leaving a leg in, but and when it goes to the VAR, right, well, the referee always is being told you've got it wrong, but I think the literal application of the law is it's probably a penalty because he's took the boy's leg, right? Where I would say it probably isn't a penalty is though, and it's all these other ones that they sometimes apply and sometimes they didn't, where they go, well, is he getting the ball? Is the ball, like where's the ball going? All these kind of things. But also, if that's us on Saturday, and I'm not saying against Celtic or Rangers, if that's us on Saturday, they didn't go to VAR for that. Because it wasn't. See if they hadn't even stopped, they'd have bothered. Like they wouldn't even get.
There was no shout for it, was there?
Nah, and I think Montgomery's saying that the Celtic fans shouted for it, and that's why they gave it. I didn't even really notice. Like, I didn't even think anybody was really shouting for it. The players weren't shouting for it. Nobody was that bothered. But on the other hand, it's probably literally correct. Like, as per the law, he could to the guy's leg. But for no advantage, or the guy never got, he wasn't impeded really. It was the ball he wasn't doing anything. But this was probably a penalty. But it's just that it's that inconsistency piece where Newell gets halved on the byline, the ball's going to play and all that, or whatever reasons that wasn't going to VAR, and we didn't get a VAR check. And it wouldn't be nobody other. It was only Celtic Rangers that would get that checked, because it's back down to the rules about getting their windows tanned and that, getting chased in the street. That's why they get it checked, because it would make the papers.
The thing with it is, I'm sure the VAR's done remotely, isn't it? The VAR's not sitting in the stadium, so the fan shouting is not going to make any difference there. But I think it's that thing about, did they want to take the chance of getting hammered in the press for 3 or 4 days for no getting something?
Especially at 2-0, because as John was saying, that's the most dangerous result. And if we had took one of the chances that we never, and you're back to 2-1, you're maybe in the game a wee bit. With 3-0, that kills it. Game's over for definite, which I think it was anyway. But that kind of seals it, and everybody then goes, "Fuck's sake, switch off."
You had Montgomery said afterwards that I think it was Johnson was the player that was judged to have been fouled, saying that he didn't get touched, which is even more remarkable. Do you know, when you've got, so you look at the replay, and I don't know how many different angles the referee was given to look at it, but there was one angle on it that you looked, and it looked like Stevenson's caught his trailing leg, and actually Johnson in the movement where he's fallen, he's trying to poke the ball with his left leg, and because he falls backwards, he has like a fresh air swipe with it. So I think if you were to say he fell because of the contact to Stevenson, and you say that there's contact there, then like you were saying, Colin, probably literally it's a penalty, and it's probably quite an easy decision to give for the angle that the referee got. But if there's other angles there which would show that there's maybe no touch on it, and which you would imagine there must be, 6 cameras is the minimum that you can have for VAR. The player himself has said he's not being touched. Why is the referee not getting shown these ones and saying, have a think about it? Because I think if there was any doubt about it, because nobody looked at it at the time, the referee himself didn't go, that's a penalty. He waited
Johnson
until VAR
didn't put his hand up and go, like, nothing.
There was nothing in it. So I think if there was other angles to see that showed a bit of doubt on it, you're probably, it's like the Venti one against Aberdeen. You know, there was one angle with that incident where it looked like he'd just jumped over. There was no contact for the keeper. It looked like he'd sort of vaulted over him and went over. And if you've seen that, you go, right, that's probably no penalty. If there was angles like that on that one, the referee should have been showing them as well, not just the one that looked like Stevenson had caught the boy. It's frustrating. I'm kind of sick of talking about VAR, but it's coming up over and over and over again. And Montgomery, I'm glad, mentioned it in his interview, saying we've had a few and VAR doesn't get involved.
Yeah.
And it's right. That's what it feels like now. It's almost like fucking every week where VAR's coming up, it'll go against us. But when we've got a shout for something, it's just no interested, and I don't care why.
See, if we were getting the ones looked at, you would go, well, at least they're getting, but we're not even getting. We don't know if they get looked at. They certainly didn't get the referee sent to them. So that's the frustrating thing. You go, well, that's it. Well, guaranteed we'll be sitting on Sunday morning doing the lobby game and going, how did we not get a penalty for that?
Aye.
You know?
And then
that was the same as that Johnson one the other day. Again, and you're in the 2 wrongs make a right and all that kind of chat. But that's where you go at. But
the flip side is when they are utilising VAR, well, it's just to check fucking extensively whether there's an offside. Like they did it on Saturday for Venti's goal against Aberdeen, but there was a long delay where they're looking at it. And even last night's one, Doidge scores. I thought it was clear that it was onside. Even the Celtic TV commentators were going, "What the fuck are they checking?" Pretty much when they weren't saying how little Joe Hart had to do in the game. The kind of things were stuck with the Celtic commentators last night, but fucking hell, for a good 25 minutes, they were like, "Oh, I didn't even care Joe Hart was playing. He's not." Hibs have got everybody behind the ball, and fuck off, you fucking pricks. And also, if you're listening, it's you, Anne. Right?
Yeah, I know how hard is it. I was saying that, Carol, last night. It's like it's not even got an H in it. It's not a silent H. It doesn't even exist. But it's every game we're watching every week.
It's like
Don't care, see me.
I think we should refer to their goal scorer as Ho if we're going to play that game.
Aye.
He's not O, he's Ho. We'll just start chucking H's in everybody's name. That's a Celtic thing, isn't it? They do that. They just put wee H's into words.
Aye. Aye, it's true. If you're going to do it anywhere, it's the right place. I
Aye,
suppose.
that's it. I'm maybe hoping to sign him. Deutsch's goal. What did you make of that, Colin?
Was it? It was good. You and Dunwell, and then I Dodge Dunwell tap it in, but that was after the fourth goal as well, wasn't it? Or was it 4-0?
I was just sick of talking about shite things. I thought we'll have a wee bit of positivity for a minute, and then we'll.
Aye, fair enough. Fair enough. I thought we were doing it in order, but absolutely fine.
We've got Maverick with it. We've got Maverick.
Aye, it was good. It was good to get you and Dunwell. But it's one of them. It's like, I didn't think he's a fuck by that time. Yeah, it's like even Dodge is just like jogging back after it. Kid, it's like, so what? Just better for the goal difference at the end of the season. There was only 3 goal defeat.
John, did you have any sense that the comeback might be on at that point?
I tweeted 5-4. We're going to win 5-4.
Nice.
So, to be fair, I have actually been right with that sort of those kind of shouts in the past. So when Hibs were 3-0 down to Falkirk at half time, I was on Facebook saying 4-3. We're going to win 4-3. So I was like, well, let's see if lightning strikes twice. And it didn't.
Spoiler alert. Celtic's fourth was it was a poor goal to lose as well, wasn't it? Like really kind of soft goal. And how much blame do you get a defender? Right? So I was watching it and I watched it back, and like a player's out muscled effectively, right? Is O's just giving him a bit of a shoulder badge. It's no foul. It's as much as if you're running like Colin for your rugby days. If you're running and somebody did that to you, how easy is it to kind of maintain your balance and your composure to kind of still win the ball?
But you didn't rugby. You wouldn't do it like that, really, yeah. But it's I just thought it looked weak as anything. Like I just thought he's not giving him anything back. He's just, like, did he not know he was there? And the boys caught him like by surprise, because if you know somebody's coming, you put some pressure back. So I would have thought he would have leaned back, because the boy just leaned on him. He didn't even fucking shoulder barge him. He just leaned on him and took him out of the game. And you think, fucking lean back. Like if somebody's running towards you, your natural thing would be to defend yourself, or protect yourself, or whatever it is. And just looked like he got pushed off it far too easily.
Do you think it was an awareness thing then? He maybe needed a shout, or
didn't know he was there. I can't think. If he knew he was there, he needs to get in the gym. Otherwise, I think he must have just got caught. I think he's been caught by surprise, which is some Marshall behind him, or whoever was Rocky to the side of him, or Lucas Sell. The players meant to scan. I just thought, how did he know? I just think it's weak.
It was really soft. John, what was your take on it?
Do you know what? I had to remind myself of it the other night. I was watching while you two guys were chatting away, and I wonder if he's just like, I think there's maybe an awareness thing, an awareness or a positional thing. I think the Celtic player has kind of came off his blind side. I don't know if there's maybe a communication thing, because he's come for, I think, Bashiri's side, and he's kind of caught him on his, when they talk about like players playing off the shoulder. I think that's maybe what's caught Fish off guard, if I'm being really, really generous. I think the first time I watched it, it looked really bad. I'm looking at it there, and I think there's maybe that. So when we talked earlier about Miller allowing the cross, Bashiri kind of marking the player, I wonder if it's been kind of like a number of errors there, and Fish is at the end of it, so he's the one that kind of carries the brunt of the blame.
Aye. I can agree with you both there. I just thought a shout makes all the difference. He can clear it. I know Hibs, like, you almost think that Fish's option would have been to knock it back to Marshall anyway. If you get a shout, he can clear the ball, play it to safety, and I just think it was, in keeping with other goals that we lost, pretty soft.
Yeah.
But were there enough positives to take for the game, John, that you think the team will not lose any confidence to go into the game on Saturday?
Nah, I think I mean, if you look at that game in isolation, you go, right, we've lost 4-1. You think, right, it's 4 goals. It feels quite heavy. It feels like we've been horsed or pumped, depending on which word you want to use. But it's
By a horse.
also a pump by a horse, Mr. Hands. Didn't Google it. But that was what? So we've had 2 defeats in 12, and they're both to the 2 teams that are top of the league.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of, as painful as it is, it's still kind of like stick to the plan, because, like you say, there were positives there. There's been a lot of other positives. There's been, as much as the basics were kind of highlighted or at times exploited, or that's when we kind of let ourselves down and allowed them to score. We might not find that on Saturday against Livingston. So it's still kind of like keep doing the things that we're doing, because we've been talking about them lately. Like, there have definitely been improvements in the side. So I don't think it's going to affect the team confidence wise. In fact, if anything, it might give them a little bit of that reverse boost. They'll go like, fuck, we didn't give as good an account of ourselves as we possibly could have. So let's go and take out against the team that's second bottom.
Either bottom, Livier bottom. A question just ready to go there, and it's just totally gone because I had to think about the league table and my head's just lost it. The other results went our way, Collins. We talk about this like the sort of mythical free hit with the Lennon quotes. Given the way that the other games went last night, so there's an argument to say it was a bit of a free hit for us yesterday.
I don't know. I think it was quite a heavy defeat, 4-1. So I think a free hit. I didn't believe in the free hit, right? But
okay, that's why I saved the question for you.
I know. So it gets held against you, right? Either way, because he's lost the 2 games to Rangers and Celtic. That's all he's lost. Fine. When's it got to come round that he doesn't win big games in? Right? So that's what that stat will get used for. And that's what folk do. They store these things up. And if you lose heavily like that, mind was it we lost 6-1 at Ibrox and we've lost 6-1 at Parkhead, they get thrown back. They get thrown back, cast in your face as soon as you lose to Livingston away. And he got fucking pumped during the week. So you can't. That's why there's no free hits, because it'll be used as evidence at some point. But the other results went their way, so that kind of bailed us out a wee bit.
That bailed us out is probably a good way to put it.
Helped us. Feel better about it. So, because it was good, St Mirren, Hearts, Aberdeen, all lost. Ideal.
Aye, the late goal up at Pittodrie was a moment of delight, I have to say.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Actually, I saw something about that earlier after seeing that wee video where it was like all the wee clips where he referenced frustration, frustrated, and someone shared something earlier. It was like a little snippet from an online article, and I think the second last word in it was frustrated. Like, someone needs to get him a dictionary for Christmas.
I watched a whole minute and a half of him this morning on Twitter when I was on the bus going to work. And he didn't say it, and I thought, bastard, somebody's telling him. He must be standing there deliberately trying not to say it, because I was watching it for to hear it, and I didn't say it.
You think someone's behind the camera with a big board up with all the thesaurus for frustrated?
I know.
It's like you seen the clips of Tavernier saying disappointed. No,
I've not.
Oh, there's tons of like it. It's pretty much after every defeat or draw at Rangers, getting the wheel the captain out to take the flag, and that's what he leads with. There's some good clips of him doing that as well. Right, we're almost finished on, but the game. Just a question to ask, right? That we started off. I felt like the rabbit caught in the headlights at Parkhead. And we would talk about the free hit and then how quickly we got over the result. Because I was over it quite quick last night, to the fact that can you see that the Hearts have got beaten and Aberdeen got beaten, and it wasn't really that bad, but you're almost writing it off before the game. Montgomery has bucked the trend a wee bit in how he's talking about it, saying money's not important and you need to go win the games. It doesn't matter if you've got a more expensive squad. His time at Central Coast in Australia was sort of peaked with his his minnow team with the smallest budget in the league beating the team with the biggest budget in the league to sort of win the playoff trophy. What will it take to get a shift in mentality at Hibs for us to properly and genuinely believe going into that game that we've got a chance to win?
We need to beat them a few times, because it's actually doing it that's got to give you belief. And we're not close. What was the score at Ibrox? Wasn't it Abdoon, was it?
4, that was another 4, I think, wasn't it?
Was that 4 as well?
4 they got, I can't mind.
So it is Abdoon when we go there, but we've got a 0-0 at home.
Aye.
I think that's so. How would you get belief? Like you can't just keep telling people to believe. Like you need to actually walk the walk rather than talk the talk.
It was 4-0 at Ibrox.
4-0, 4-1. A bit go better off then. Getting better.
But I was thinking about it last night because I thought it was an interesting point. So one of the things that we'll talk about the week at Hibs was Montgomery saying about Dana Leicester almost. Like, and to be that unfashionable team, if like maybe unfashionable is not the right word, but the underdog to go and do something spectacular does require like a bit of belief and a shift in mentality. And I was conscious because I've probably been as big a defender of Hibs in these games as anybody, just on the basis that like it's ridiculous the gap between Hibs and Celtic for finances. An absolute joke. And I was thinking maybe like if we keep churning it, do we add to that belief of excusing it, or is it just a case of being realistic? Because it doesn't actually matter what we say; it's the facts are that they should win these games.
I was thinking about this earlier because I think when was it the last one at Celtic Park? Was it 2010?
Mm-hmm. John Hughes in charge. John
Hughes, Danny Gilbraith scored, blah blah blah. So we've not won in however many counters against them. But if you remember, I think was it last week, Celtic were described as the worst British team in the Champions League because they haven't won a game in 15 attempts. Mm-hmm. And I think, and this suits my argument, I think, but there is a gulf between what Hibs can spend on a player, how much they can pay on wages, and what Celtic can. But there is clearly a gulf between what Celtic can pay and what other teams can pay as well. And I think that's like, so the Celtic go into the Champions League with the mentality that we are talking about, going, well, we're not really up, we're not going to do anything. Or do they go into it thinking, well, we're definitely going to win and don't?
I think they probably do the former of those things. I think they treat it now like we treat these games. That it's a free hit almost. They'll do as well as we can, hope to get a result rather than thinking that they will.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the free hit just to wind you up, Colin, by the way.
I know you are, because you're hearing their fans moaning, and that's why they're unhappy, because they're losing these free hits.
Right, we're out of time for the episode. We will be talking about Hibs. I think statistically we had one of our most attacking displays at Parkhead, and created more chances than we normally do. So there's an argument to say, was that a better approach, or that is a better approach than parking the bus for 90 minutes? I think there's some mileage in talking about that, so I think we're going to use that for our extra time topic at the weekend, unless anything raj happens in the Livy Hibs game that we want to devote half an hour to. So if you're a subscriber, you'll get that. And at this point, if you're not a subscriber, we're going to say thank you very much for listening, because we're going to carry on for our subscribers with a week at Hibs. So if you could still hear us in the next 30 seconds, you're a subscriber, and we thank you very much for that. If not, thanks for tuning in. We've not done any talking points for that episode as well. We'll save them up. We'll do them at the weekend. There were some good ones today, but we've only got an hour of the night. So thanks for sending in your talking points. Sorry we forgot to get to them. I never had time. Week at Hibs coming up next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.